Hey guys, I'm gonna try this again. I do hope to get this in the right order and hope that we don't have like too much interference. I'm at the airport and I am on a journey of some kind. I don't really know exactly what I'm doing or I know where I'm going, but so Mount Shasta has been in my field for about 3 years now, and 3 years ago, met someone in North Carolina who had a little pendant crystal necklace, and I was very fascinated by this crystal and asked her where she got it, and she told me that she got it at this specific store in Mount Shasta, and I got the website, and I've been going back to this website for the last 3 years, like looking and specifically looking at some stuff having to do with Saint Germain, which is really cool, and studying him. And so it just in the last 2 or 3 months been even more and more and more. And hey mom, and more and more and more. And then in the last like 3 days, just like Saturday, Friday, Saturday, everything I would turn on had to do with Mount Shasta, documentaries, different people mentioning it. So I just like Googled to see like what would be a flight to get out, like if that was even a possibility. Sent something to a lady who helps me with my animals when I'm gone to see if that's like even something she could do this last minute. We're actually supposed to be moving right now because the house that was tornadoed, they had moved us to like 3 hotels over the last couple weeks, and every time we have to move all our stuff, and it's been, So Brian is heading all of that up, and would be kind of cool for me to be here to help move everything. And I was feeling like not to leave him, and yet looking at my schedule, trying to figure out like, well, when would I go with everything that we have scheduled, so many classes and different things with my schedule at work. So I put it out there to like 3 of my friends who I knew had gone and said like, where do you stay when you go to these places, and just getting some feedback. And somebody had sent me this link to a bed and breakfast there, and I clicked it, and I was kind of confused because it was like, it showed like it was a sauna / like spa kind of thing / hotel thing, and it showed like views from the rooms and stuff, and I was like, it looked like it was really far away. And the person who even sent this to me, she was like, this is a friend of a friend who went there or something like that, and I thought it was going to be closer than that, and that was my response too. I was like, it looked, I just kind of discounted it. And the one thing I do know that I'm doing over there is going to this store. Like, that's the thing, and then something with the mountain. And so I Googled the store and said, like, closest hotels to this store or whatever, and guess what came up is the same link to the thing. So I was like, So I tried to see if there was any availability. I looked on the schedule there, and there wasn't a way to like do it on there, and they had a phone number, and it was like 10, 11 o'clock at night, and I'm like, no one's going to answer, but I'll just leave a message, because it was like a bed and breakfast thing. And I call, and the guy answers the phone, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I was checking to see about availability for like next weekend, but I know this could be a shot in the dark, but, and he's like, oh, let me look, and blah, blah, and he's like, what do you do? And I was like, I choose to know how to answer that, like international speaker, author, doctor, minister, all the things, right? So, and he's like, oh, that's so good, and whatever, and I had looked on the reviews too, and when the reviews were like phenomenal, like this apparently specifically about this owner, of like how he's just over the top and so sweet, and made breakfast for everybody extra early who had flights and stuff, and like the food he cooks and just all the stuff. So here he is on the phone, and he's like, well, I can look to see something in the morning, like, where are you flying in from? Told him, and he's like, make sure you can fly into Redding, California. That's the closest airport. I think it's United. La la la. There's a flight that comes in at so and so time. I mean, he's just giving me so many details, and he's like, "What's the main thing you're coming for?" And I'm like, honestly, I choose to know. I know I'm going to this store, and he's like, "Oh, that's 3 blocks from here," and I was like, "That's really close." And he's like, I said, "Yeah, I looked at this thing, and then it's kind of a weird deal. Someone sent me your link, and I thought it was kind of far away." But then I Googled the store, and it came up you, and kind of told him the whole thing. And I don't know why, but I start crying because it's just like working out. Like everything is I just felt so much love from this guy, and I'm trying to be like all cool on the phone with him. And he's like, "Yeah, sometimes like that's when people are called. That's where they're, it just sounds like alignment and whatever." And I just got overwhelmed because it was just. Yeah, it was just a lot. And so he tells me to give him a call back, and he was like, "What flight are you on?" I'm like, "I haven't even sat my flight yet or anything. I'm just kind of going by the seat of my pants." But he's like, "Okay, so call me, text me, and let me know like when your flight comes in or whatever." And I said, "Well, and I heard you cook like amazing, and I won't even be able to eat your food because I'm on this like liquid fast." And he's like, "Oh, well, what kind of liquids are you doing?" And I said, mostly juice and water. And he's like, "Okay, so when you get to Redding, there's this place called Roots. You just, when you land, you can go straight there. Matter of fact, call them in advance, tell them what you need, get all the juices that you need for the weekend, and I will house it for you in my refrigerator. And that way you're set up for that." And he was like, "I do like massage, and we have an infrared sauna, and we have like crystal beds and all these things, and I work all around your schedule." And I'm like, "Are you?" Yeah. So I'm like still crying. And he's like, "It's okay." And then he's like, "Well, what's your name, honey?" And I start crying even more. And he's like, "It's okay. Just take a breath. Take your time." And I think it was just because, like, it was so miraculous, like the whole thing. And I forgot to mention, before I even called this guy, and when I just looked at the flights and told my husband about whatever, I kind of had in the back of my mind, like, oh, this is the worst time to ask him to try to go somewhere in the middle of all this stuff. And I gave him like 3 things, and he comes back and he's like, "Baby, go." Like I didn't, like how am I surprised at all that he's so loving? And so it was this combination of just like my other friend, and then this guy, and my husband who's amazing, and just all of the like forces are just like, "Go." And another friend of mine called, and I barely mentioned it, and he's like, "Go." And so everyone has the same response, is just go. And so I get off the phone and I go ahead and book a flight with United, which I have only flown with United like 2 times ever, because Delta doesn't even go into Redding, that's the closest to Mount Shasta. So it's a little bit out of my comfort zone. And guess what? That's what it's all about, right? Doing something completely out there that you have no. So doing that, and then in the meantime, I called. I have my juices set up. I texted the guy. He told me that he does have confirmation. He told me what room I'm in. He told me to text him when I get there. He's just like a dad. And I texted him, and I'm like, "Hey, do you know where there's any colonics, or if there's any colonics in Shasta?" And he's like, "Actually, not in Shasta, but there is one in Redding, and I just went there last Wednesday, and the lady who does it is Pawnee. And I'll send her your information. She just stayed here New Year's Eve with her daughter, and go call her right now, tell her you know me, and I don't know what her hours are, but it may be like you get off the plane, go get your juices, and then set that up before you come in, so you don't have to drive like an hour back and forth." And I was like thinking, this lady, they probably close like normal 5-6 o'clock. I call her, and sure enough, she answers the phone. She's really sweet. And she's like, "Well, normally 6, but you know what? I can get you in at like 7:15 if that's cool for you, if that works." And I was like, that would be like super perfect. And she didn't even know about the juices and all of that. And she's like, "So can I connect with you? Is it possible? I didn't know what she meant. And then she's like, can I get your name? And I was like, oh, pardon me, so I like give her my name. I was like, my name is Sharnael. And she's like, good job. And I started laughing because the other guy, when he asked me my name, I couldn't even say it. And now she's asking me, who says good job? And she's like, good job. And you could tell she's like an older kind of woman. Her name is Pawnee, which is like super cool. I have no idea what I'm getting into. I just know that I'm following the breadcrumbs, seeing where God is leading me, and love this awakened, conscious fasting day of 14 now, and seeing where this takes me and what God has for me on this journey here. But to even like get it crazier, the very first person that I contacted, who I knew had been before, I had met this person in Dallas, but I'm not super good friends with him or anything. I just an acquaintance from Dallas, and I knew that he had gone to Shasta before. So he texts me and he's like, oh, sorry, I'm just now getting back to you. This is last night. Sorry, I'm just now getting back to you. Just wanted to check in. Like, are you still going to Shasta? And I was like, yeah, actually, I'm going and I'm landing on Thursday and da-da-da. Well, he lives in Redding. I didn't know that. And I said, yeah, I'm actually, I don't know if I'll be able to see you because I land, I'm going to get juices. And then I'm going to this place to get a colonic real quick. And he was like, where are you going? And I told him, and he's like, oh my God, the owner of that place is my grandmother. I'm like, Pawnee is your grandmother? And he's like, yes. And I was just like, what the hell? I mean, what the heaven is happening? So yeah, send good vibes on this trip. Whatever I'm getting for all of us, all of you. And I should say whatever we are getting. So as you guys are out and about doing whatever you're doing on your missions, be awake and aware of the cool things that are happening along the way, the people that you're meeting along the way, and be open to whatever God has and who he puts in your path, so you can be a shiny, shiny person to everyone that you come in contact with. And I am getting on a plane by myself, going on some trek to the mountains, and it's going to be 30 degrees and snowing. I have to I have my coat and stuff and like gloves and boots, and going to the mountain and seeing, it's supposed to be the portal of the earth. There's 12 portals on the earth, and Shasta is the crown portal, the violet light. And and I didn't tell you, after the whole thing is like booked and done, I get this random text from a person I've never even met before, who's reading my book, The Science of Miracles. And she goes, I know this is really weird, but I had to just show you this picture and let you know I'm reading your book, and the whole inside of the pages on the spine is this bright purple violet level, like violet color shining inside. And she shows me pictures, and she's like, the pictures aren't doing it justice, but no matter where I go in the house, like, it's still showing this light on the spine. And it was page 82 and 83, if that means anything. And she literally, it wasn't colored, it was just literally light. And I'm looking at it myself going, oh my gosh, well, Saint Germain and the whole chakra, crown chakra, has to do with that color. So this is all happening, and I'm reading Saint Germain's book, one of his books, on the way. And I will be in touch, but I wanted to give you just a little Snapchat, like tiny bite size of what's been going on. And I've been very emotional the last few days with the fast, and also very joyful and euphoric. And I know many of you on here are fasting with me. And so let's all just put our energy towards our highest and our best versions of ourselves and really, really tap in. The Schumann is on a blackout right now. It's been on a blackout since 3 o'clock 2 days ago. That probably has a lot to do with the emotions and this high surge of energy that people may be having right now, trouble sleeping and or really, really good sleep. It affects people in different ways. But dreams and things, a lot of high emotions. But when the Schumann spikes like that, especially when it goes for a long time, that's a great opportunity, because what it does is it goes to the DNA and really surfaces anything that has been stored and brings it to the surface so we can deal with our stuff. So don't be surprised if stuff comes up and you may be having some feelings about things or thinking about things you haven't for a while. Just take advantage of it, love the hell out of it, and transmute it out. You let this tool be something that you can do to help yourself right now, because if you suppress it, depress it, oppress it, then it just goes back down in some organ somewhere, and it will give you a message later, and or has the energy to give you the revolving negative patterns that aren't so fun. So if you're having less than awesome negative patterns right now and stuff is coming up, please address it, please acknowledge it, please love it, and just accept and love where you're at right now. So wish me blessings and good vibes. I'll be keeping you posted. I'm not sure about internet connection on Shasta, but I at least wanted to let you know in case you don't hear from me for the next couple days. All right, love you. I love you, Mommy. Thank you for helping. Talk to you soon. All right, bye.